Hey, welcome back to Album April. It's April 5th, and today I listened to Bridge Over Troubled Water by Simon and Garfunkel. This is the fifth and final album the duo made before they broke up, and is widely regarded as the best album that Simon and Garfunkel put out. It also had the single Bridge Over Troubled Water, which ended up being the biggest hit song in America in 1970. My first impression of Bridge Over Troubled Water was I had already known the song Bridge Over Troubled Water before. It's a little bit slower, it's more of a ballad, and I was kind of expecting the entire album to be like that, but that is the exception, not the rule. Most of the other songs in Bridge Over Troubled Water are a lot more upbeat and fun. That being said, I do think that my favorite song from Bridge Over Troubled Water is still the titular track. Besides being a very sweet love song, it just sounds so beautiful. It uses the wall of sound technique, and I really hate the fact that the concept of the wall of sound, which I personally love, was really coined and penned and kind of invented by Phil Spector, a producer from the 60s and 70s, who apparently was horrible to work with and would go on to murder a woman in the early 2000s. Also of note is that one of his bands, the Teddy Bears, had a song To Know Him Is to Love Him, which peaked at number 1 in the late 50s, and it is possibly the first hit song to use the 4 chords of pop music. So if you really hate that chord progression, I guess you can take solace in the fact that the person who came up with it ended up dying in prison. But anyway, I digress. The wall of sound in Bridge Over Troubled Water is just gorgeous. And the songwriting and composition for all of these songs is just great. There's a lot of really creative use of percussion. Sometimes it doesn't land completely. For example, in the song The Boxer, during the chorus, there's this really, really loud percussion every 2 measures or so that almost sounds like a cannon going off. There's also a lot of experimentation with different audio channels, like sometimes there will be a bass that's only in one ear, or percussion that's only in one ear. It really does seem like there was a concentrated effort to keep things interesting, keep things like going and different and feeling new throughout the album. And there was no song on this album that I didn't like. There were some that I liked more than others, obviously. My favorites were Bridge Over Troubled Water, The Boxer. I really liked Cecilia. And Cecilia is the song that people say that Fun ripped off when they made Some Nights. And I mean, I can hear the similarities. Overall, I really do believe that this album holds up. In fact, it might even be the best album I listened to so far this month. It's certainly not as ambitious or far-reaching as something like Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness or The Wall, but there really is something to be said for an album where every single song had care put into it and every single song works. And that's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow.